Hello, this is Miranda, and you're listening to or watching Our Commonality.
Which one of those rights jumps out at you?
The right to identity.
And what does that mean to you? Why does it jump out?
Just accept me for who I am and not for who you think I should be.
The conversation I'm sharing with you today is between myself and a woman named Cathy Donaghy. Now, she's a behavior analyst and she works with adults who are on the autism spectrum, and she is awesome. We were having an impromptu conversation one day, and I thought, you are too amazing for me not to share you with others. So she very graciously allowed me to record the conversation, for me to ask her some follow-up questions, and I'm sharing all of that with you today. But the one thing that stood out to me is the passion and respect that she has for people who are on the autism spectrum. And that's something that's near and dear to my heart because I have two wonderful teenagers who are on the spectrum. And I can only hope that the adults who engage with them when they're getting services will have as much respect and passion for them as Cathy has for her clients. Please listen to this interview and enjoy.
Tell me a little bit about your job. What have you trained to do? What is it that you do?
Okay, so I am a behaviour therapist. So I work with guys who present with challenging behaviour. We look at why the behaviour is occurring and then try to reduce the challenging behaviour or teach the person a more functional way of communicating that need. Some people engage in challenging behaviour because they want attention or they want to escape from something, they want to get away from something. There could be a really annoying noise that they want to get away from, and they will engage in challenging behaviour to get away from that. We would teach them how to ask for a break rather than having to hit their head off something or rather than have to engage in the challenging behaviour. So a lot of my work focuses around independent living and breaking complex tasks down into smaller manageable tasks. Brushing your teeth has 15 steps. Who would have
Really?
thought that brushing your teeth has 15 steps, and that each of these steps in the chain needs to be taught separately for some guys. It's easy to tell them to go and brush your teeth, but maybe they don't have the motor skills to unscrew the cap or to turn on the tap. So there's so many other skills that maybe need to be taught first before we can teach the big skill of brushing your teeth. So things as simple as that can be difficult for these guys. So yeah, there is a gap in services where they're not able to teach these life skills, but maybe these guys are academically able and have invented things or have got a master's degree but still don't know how to brush their teeth. So it's about figuring out where they're at and what their goal is around that.
Figuring out the gaps in knowledge.
Gaps in knowledge, definitely.
Knowledge.
Yeah.
And then maybe convincing people that we need to fill in that gap in knowledge.
Definitely, that we need to fill it in and that we don't need to do everything for these guys, that they can learn. I think a lot of people just feel that it's something they'll never learn, and so there's no point in teaching them that, whereas we look at it as something they can learn. You can always learn if it's broken down into a small enough component, then you can learn.
Do you find then that there are people coming up through schools in Ireland at the minute who aren't prepared for life?
Yeah.
Are they missing essential life skills?
Definitely, there's a lot. I find there's a lot who are almost babied through life, and then they get to 18 and they don't have the skills to know where to go. They don't have the skills to know how to access their own money, how to cross the road, how to pay for things, how to put phone credit in their phone. Some, don't get me wrong, some people do come through and they're great and they are able to do all this, but others will come through and maybe not have those skills, or it's been missed in school, or it has been missed in earlier services, or even that their parents have felt they were never ready to do it, so never taught them how to do it. And then maybe the parents are getting older and they've maybe passed away, and the children are left then as adults who don't know how to live independently.
That's such an interesting field. I didn't even know that this job existed.
Yeah.
How did you get interested in this job?
I was always interested. Autism was always what I was interested in from I was young. From maybe I was in transition year in school, and I was on work placement and I loved autism, and then I got fascinated by challenging behaviour and why behaviour occurs, and I done some research and found the world of ABA, Applied Behaviour Analysis, and it's all history from there.
And where did you study?
Queen's in Belfast. I did my Masters in Applied Behaviour Analysis in Queen's University. I done my undergraduate in Health and Disability Studies. So I think that gave me a more rounded approach rather than going down a psychology approach. It's given me a more rounded approach to the social need that's there. It has helped.
It's cool. And can you tell me about how does your work affect your life? So I'm surrounded by psychologists and surrounded by people who work either in psychology or mental health.
Mm-hmm.
And I hear a lot of stories about how their work impacts their life.
Okay. I wouldn't say that it has a great... I love what I do. I don't see it as work. I see it as something that I enjoy to do, and I enjoy reading about autism, and I enjoy reading about challenging behaviour. It fascinates me, but I wouldn't say that I would be looking for challenging behaviour everywhere that I go. Some people, when I tell them I'm a behaviour therapist, they're like looking to see have they got proper body language, are they sitting facing me, and I'm kind of thinking, no, I don't analyse everything that you do. So it would have an impact that way, but I love what I do. Absolutely love what I do, and it's fun to me. It's more fun than anything else. I really, really enjoy seeing those little goals. So even if it is something as simple as someone brushing their teeth, I am high-fiving that, and I absolutely love that. I love to see that, and that's what reinforces me. Reinforces my ability to do my job. I love seeing those little gains and those little achievements and seeing how much it means to my clients.
That's excellent. So I'm wondering, you appear to have a very outgoing personality.
Uh-huh.
You appear to be very compassionate and non-judgmental, non-biased, and very accepting of other people.
Yeah.
Would you say that's a necessity in your job?
Yeah, definitely. I think nothing can shock you in my job. Mm-hmm. Definitely need to have a non-judgmental attitude when it comes to this, because you could be faced with anything, and if you were to judge people on that, you're doing them a disservice. They're already going to be intimidated coming in to see you, mm-hmm. and if you're going to judge them even further, it doesn't work. It just doesn't work like that.
Do you find, are there very many people offering second line services? So when I say second line, mm-hmm. a lot of people don't understand that first line services, if it were addiction, it would be people going to rehab.
Yes.
If it's abuse, it would be the women's shelter.
Yeah.
What would be the first line service for people with autism, and what would be a second line service?
So first line services for me would be OT, speech and language therapy, early intervention services for kids. Second line service then would be the support networks that are built around that and the support systems that are around that. So for us, I feel we are more of a support. We always encourage our members to go into to go to college if they feel they're ready for college, but we will support in addition to the mainstream college. We do try to keep it as mainstream as possible with the added support, rather than bringing them out and putting them into a secluded service where they train and they go every day but are only engaging with other people who are on the spectrum. We like to have a varied approach where they're engaging with their community and learning how to buy a coffee in a coffee shop, not learning how to buy a coffee in a contrived situation where they walk up and pretend to buy a coffee. We like to teach them in the moment.
That's excellent. So you're teaching them to really navigate mainstream
social
Ireland.
world. Yeah. Teaching them how to navigate the social world, basically. That's in the social world. I think it's very important for it to be in the world and not in a centre or not in a base.
A false environment.
Yes, definitely.
I'm only going to ask a couple of more questions. What would you like people to know about people with autism or who have behavioural difficulties?
Don't underestimate them. I think they're underestimated and patronised too often. I would love to see them reach their full potential without having to struggle to do that. I think they're underestimated too much, and everyone can achieve. They can achieve so much. It's about maybe changing the way that you teach it or changing the way that it's done. So definitely, I think they're underestimated far too much. Their abilities are underestimated.
Sounds like you have a great kind of admiration for people with autism.
I do, definitely. I love it. I absolutely love, and I love seeing some of my guys coming in who are so enthusiastic and so passionate about autism, and I love seeing them outline the pros rather than the cons, because it's very easy to get caught up in the cons of having autism, but the pros are out there as well, and it's great to see that.
I love that they think differently. Mm-hmm. I love the idea that if you are surrounded by people who are neurotypical and who are autistic, you'll get a vast array of perspectives on a single situation.
Definitely.
I think that they enrich the world.
Oh, completely. It's completely changed my view of certain things. It has completely changed the way I think about things and the way I think about why people do certain things and why people... social norms I don't know, they're out there. They're definitely out there. There's a lot of things that I would like to do because I like to do it, and because of social norms I'm not allowed to do it. So yeah, I really, really understand where they're coming from when it comes to that.
I absolutely agree with you. There are times where I think I've become a little bit of a anarchist. I just do what I like, because you start questioning social norms.
Yeah,
I start questioning things myself.
Uh-huh.
You know, I question, why can't I go to the grocery store in my evening gown? I bought it. Why can I only wear it the one time at a gig and never again?
Exactly. That's it. Why do we have to dress in a certain way to go to certain places? Definitely, I completely agree with that. And I love how they can bring that across to you and how they can make you think like that.
Can you... what question did I want to ask? I lost my question. Oh, if you had a message of hope, what would your message of hope be about autism?
So my message of hope is that everything is achievable and don't rule something out. I hate to hear guys coming in saying, I'll never get in a bus, because there is a way around it. I'll never go to college. There's always a way of getting around it, and I hate to hear people write themselves off just because they have autism. So that's my message of hope.
Thank you so much for talking with me today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Cathy. I think she's so interesting, and I'm really glad that I got to capture that conversation and share it with you. If you have any thoughts on applied behavior therapy or helping to train adults with autism, pop your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you're interested in hearing other conversations I've captured, join me on Facebook at Our Commonality. I really hope that hearing this conversation has helped you learn to value yourself and others.